Well, unfortunately, society sometimes turns their back on folks people in addiction and alcoholism. The rule of thumb is that if you're in an active addict and alcoholic, you're either going to die, go to prison, or get sick.
I think addiction is, and drug abuse, substance abuse, any sort of addiction is really a defining problem of our generation. It's a defining problem of our society currently. And I think at its root, it is a spiritual dilemma. Addiction certainly has a physiological component and a psychological, there's a mental health component, and all of those things need to be treated. But at its root, the desolation that people feel, the abandonment, the separation, the shame, the guilt, all of those things that are hallmarks of the addicted life, in many ways really are spiritual problems, and they can only be remedied with some kind of a spiritual solution. And so picking up on the classic big book model, the 12-step model of treatment, as one goes through that and examines that, one realizes that the only solution that we know that works long term is for people to somehow connect with a God of their understanding or a higher power. The Shrine of St. Joseph is essentially a retreat center and a spirituality center with the goal of, again, trying to help people build a strong spiritual foundation for their life. If they happen to be struggling with issues of recovery, well, we hope that they're building a strong foundation, a spiritual foundation for their recovery. The recovery ministry at the Shrine tries to offer experiences, retreat experiences, and other programmatic experiences for folks really based on where they may be in their journey. And we do that by offering different kinds of retreats in different places: New Jersey, Connecticut, Ohio, and then looking at the people who are going to be on that retreat.
Well, for me, I'm my duties or tasks to do at the retreat are to direct it. I do probably most of the presentations at the retreat in regards to steps and the big book.
I looked at them and couldn't understand why they were doing what they were doing and why they did what they did. And over a period of time, you become like friends with these people, and you understand them, every little aspect of their life, from the time they're children to the time they start to use and abuse, and then stepping into recovery. And it's just a wonderful thing from the beginning to the end, and they become whole, and people and their families are together, and their lives are just so much better than what they were in the beginning. And it makes you feel good that you've seen and helped them develop and change and bloom into this new person.
Yeah, I don't know what this is, but it's good. It goes down real smooth. It's kind of like tasteless. Wow. And am I high? So finally I said, man, what is this? He said, it's crack cocaine. I said, oh my God, crack cocaine. I said, whoa. And this is back when it first came out. And the guy goes, that's supposed to be really bad. He goes, it is, but how's it make you feel? I said, well, it makes me feel really good. It gives you a fleeting moment, but it doesn't last. It doesn't last. How many of you have children? Anything. Have you ever felt in your life like the love of that child? No, there's no explanation for that. It's there. It's there. And when they strike out at us, wow. Is that a dagger?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
a dagger, isn't it?
Yes,
It's a
it is.
horrible, horrible, horrible feeling.
Yes.
I can remember the first time I stole from my little daughter. She was 7 years old. I stole from her piggy bank. I took the money out of the piggy bank. And when she asked me what happened, she says, Daddy, somebody took the money out of my piggy bank. I said, see, that's what happens when you're not responsible for your stuff. That's what happens. That's how I made somebody feel who I love. Who I loved. Because I was motivated by the drugs that I was putting in my body. They were more important than that moment with my child. More important with that moment of my child. And do you know what that child told me when she was 13 years old and I was getting clean and sober? I said to her, honey, I hope you're not mad at me. You know what she said? She said, Daddy, I've never been mad at you. I thought, oh God, thank God. She says, what I could never figure out is what I ever did to deserve for you to treat me like you did. Whole different perspective now, huh? Is that a whole different perspective on your life? Is that part of your life? Is that what you've done to some people in your life that you care about and love? You know, and we don't know how to keep these things that actually do make us feel good close to us because we've been selfishly pursuing something that gives us a feeling that's fleeting. It's fleeting. For 26 years, I've been doing this every day. Every day. I look at my life every day. Every day I look at what happened and I didn't do. And if I owe an apology or I need to do something different, I ask God what corrective measures I can take tomorrow not to keep repeating that same thing. And that's why I've never drank or drugged since. And that's why my life got better. If that's what you want, this is what you got to do. I don't know any other way.
I stole the peace of mind of my family, and I eventually got into trouble. And down the pike, things got worse gradually, and I ended up getting on heroin. And when you had no money, you start drinking. You know, one thing led to another. Next thing you know, I'm losing my houses, I'm losing my family. Maybe it was divine providence, I don't know. I met this community, and in there with Ron and Dolly, and Dolly's a sweetheart, and Ron is the epitome of a person should be in recovery. He's always giving for someone else, and for that, I'm very grateful that I met him.
What I really heard in the beginning, I heard that my life will be so much better if I'm being of maximum service to God and my fellow man. The way I feel about myself, the way I handle myself, the way my problems and troubles will be in my life, that I'll be able to get through those things no matter what they are, is if I'm given of myself.
The Trinity House retreats, the New Jersey retreats, we gear specifically to folks that are in treatment centers. So these are folks who have, for whatever circumstance, found themselves either through force of law or just out of desperation, have found themselves in a treatment program and are working that program and are dealing with some of the mental health issues, some of the depression issues, some of the physical things that come along with long-term use. They're beginning now to say, okay, I'm a little further along. I kind of understand these principles. I'm doing some work on the steps. I have a counselor, I have a case manager. I'm in a program. But I'm starting to think about what's going to happen when I leave the treatment center, the sort of the comfort, the nest of the treatment center. How am I going to move forward? And so we try to gear that retreat a little more around what happens when you leave and what kinds of things do you need to have in place. And we do a lot more work on the Trinity House around this relationship with higher power and having a strong spiritual foundation and giving people tools for that. What does that mean? How do I have a relationship with God? And we talk about a lot of the different ways historically that people have done that. The work that we do is consistently supported by the tireless efforts of our volunteers, who work really with no expectation of compensation or remuneration, simply out of the goodness of their hearts. These men and women give of themselves simply for the sake of others. We receive innumerable hours of volunteer service in meal preparation and logistical support from members of our local community, and they support these retreats in ways that we simply could not afford without them. Over the years here in Stirling, the headquarters of the Shrine, we've been blessed with the support of various members of the community, without whom we would not be able to continue this work.
I guess, we're called to be missionaries, and I guess this is my call right now, is to help the girls. And the thing is that I feel such a sense of love for them. I can't explain it.
For us, the appreciation that we have for the dignity of these people, that they are, as Rose said, they're sons and daughters of the Lord God, and to encourage them in that dignity is very fulfilling for us.
It's been overwhelming to me. Like, I'm not used to, like, being showed like so much love and like being served. I got a big family. I got a lot of addicts in my family. Me and my dad, we use together. My mom, she does pills and she drinks a lot. My sister drinks. So, we're cool, but, it's affected my family a lot so far as the drugs and the lifestyle. I started using when I was 15 years old. I'm 37 now, so I've been using almost 22 years. This is the longest I've ever been clean. I've been clean for like 6 months now. My dad's still using, he's still out there. My mom's, she left, my sister's drinking. It affects me, but, I can't do nothing about it. I was out there too, and, no matter how many times people tell me to, stay clean, I knew it wasn't happening because, once you're caught in that grip, can't nobody stop but you. And no matter how many people love you and they tell you, you can't, unless you're ready, you're not gonna stop. So I have no control over that. So, I just do my part and do what I can, and that's being clean. That's a good thing. That's like, to me, it was life changing. It was a good thing. And so far as, like Dolly, just the love she shows, and it's just overwhelming, and I think it's essential right now. I needed this.
The Ohio retreat, the Founders Path retreat, would be geared toward folks that are very early in recovery. The majority of those folks are currently living in homeless shelters. They're just beginning to taste or experience, in a serious way, how to work a recovery program, how to do that, how to get a sponsor, how to work the steps, the importance of identifying your higher power and having a relationship with God. So the Ohio retreats at a very basic introductory level about this is recovery. And so we try to demonstrate that recovery can be fun, that a life in recovery does not have to be boring. So many folks do not know how to recreate in any other way than drinking or getting high. So we try to introduce them to that. So at the Ohio retreat, there's lots of music, they do lots of silly stuff, they play games, they dance, along with, introducing people to getting a sponsor. And at the Ohio retreat, we try to match up, if not one for one, at least enough people who are long-term recovery coming back to be present to the new people in recovery and saying, I'm available to hear your fifth step, I'm available to be your sponsor, I want to walk this journey with you, to give them a chance to really meet people who very much like themselves are now successfully walking this path of recovery. And so it's a much more of an introductory kind of experience.
I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic. My background basically is I had 28 years and went back out. I had lost my daughter from this disease, drugs, since I was saved from dying and going to jail and everything else. I'm here basically to help young girls. My daughter was 22, and God's put a lot of 22-year-olds in my life, and I love it. Today, I have to have it because without a higher power, I will die. I will die drunk or drugged up or something. So I have to, on a daily basis, believe in my higher power. You know, just looking around, I looked around and I was looking at all the faces and the smiles and the happiness, you know. These are the same people that were used in society, that were deadbeats. These are the same people that were almost dead. And look at us now, we're miracles, you know. It's beautiful.
The Connecticut retreats are a younger group of folks. They tend to be younger men and women. And for them, you know, it's such an opportunity before they get to the point where so many of our folks are on the other retreats that they're already caught up in the legal system, you know, or they're already caught up with serious health issues, you know, that are a result of addiction. So it's a chance to really get people at an early stage and say, you don't have to walk this hard road. You're getting this message early. And again, it tends to be a lot more interactive, not so much just sitting and giving people information, but sort of eliciting concerns and information from the group. Because as younger folk, they tend to be much more dependent on each other in terms of where they find their base of support.
It's important for me to have a relationship with God because when I tend to micromanage my own life, I end up homeless and doing drugs. And, you know, I feel like a relationship with God gives me something outside of myself where I didn't create this world. I don't run the show. You know, I'm just basically a byproduct of something greater than me. And it's important for me to treat my recovery as a gift. You know, without God, I definitely wouldn't be sober, you know, without following certain suggestions and principles as it's laid out in many different programs, has given me an opportunity to experience freedom, love, a sober life, I mean, family, friends. I mean, really without God, I've personally never seen it work, and I've been working in the recovery field for almost 5 years. So I've personally never seen it work without having a conception of something greater than yourself, and I choose to call it God.
They show you so much love, and when we do these recovery retreats, we tell folks that, you know, we may not know you, but we love you. So I know how it felt when you got ousted by society and by your own family because of your addictions and your compulsions, and I saw that in them, that they do care for other people, and that was a draw for me to serve others. You know, to have a sense of like a selfless service towards others, because when you get out of self, that's when you're in recovery. Again, this community has been there for me. They've been there when I've been sick. They've been there in good times and bad times. You know, and they didn't have to do all this, but they did it anyway. You know, and that's something I saw, and I see that, you know, towards me, and I see it towards others. So that's my draw, my attraction with them. You know, to serve others and living in the Spirit, and especially, you know, the ministry of recovery. I think it's a beautiful thing. You know, I could do this forever. You know, and today I'm somewhat at peace. But again, you never get rid of the old memories, because we learn from our past. You know, we know what not to do now. You know, and when you have clarity, sometimes I need to hear that because it reminds me what not to do. You know, and I try. You know, I suggest. You know, live a sober life is the best life, and you know, it's time to make new memories, and it'll save your life.
My recovery today is always uppermost in my mind and most important in my mind. But I get more joy and more thing out of somebody else's than mine, way more.
For me, the most rewarding thing is always the gratitude. Whether deserved or undeserved, the gratitude that people express to me and to our team and the various projects and different programs that I've been associated with. People come back And it was a life-changing moment for them. That's enough to keep me going. It's just this overwhelming sense of gratitude that people have. So that to me is that's why I wake up every day. That's what gives me the energy, keeps me motivated. I know that somehow God is using us, to help people heal. And what else is there?